The first time I went to solitary was in Shawanga Correctional Facility. They took my wheelchair from me and they forced me to stay in my bed for like 3 days. And I was sitting in my human waste.
Jose Vega was already paralyzed from the chest down from a gunshot wound when he went to state prison on a murder conviction. His longest stint in solitary confinement was 1 year.
They beat up inmates there, they get away with it.
Jerome Wright once spent 2.5 years in isolation.
A Department of Corrections that's supposed to be returning people to the community better than they went in is failing miserably when they put people in cages and treat them like animals.
Now the Democratic-controlled Assembly and Senate is asking Governor Cuomo to sign a law called HALT, which would limit time in solitary to 15 days.
90% of the people who they are damaging are going to come back out.
More than 5 years ago, New York City's jails ended punitive segregation for detainees under the age of 21. The move followed the suicide of Khalif Browder, who'd been jumped by other men when he went to Rikers as a 16-year-old, held for several years without any trial on the accusation that he stole a backpack. Browder hung himself at his parents' house.
When he came home, he had a hard time transitioning from being confined for 300-something days.
Yet city correction officers fought the end of punitive segregation in jails where gang activity is rampant. One CO who had his face slashed spoke in silhouette.
I feel like it puts us all at risk because then there's limited to no consequences for these inmates.
The president of COBA said attacks on correction officers are up 23%, denouncing the HALT bill by saying there is nothing humane by subjecting our brave men and women to brutal assaults that send them to the hospitals every week to be treated for broken noses, broken eye sockets, and gashes across their limbs. Yet the bill's advocates say the Nelson Mandela rule, established by the United Nations, considers any solitary confinement past 15 days torture.
It's very dehumanizing.
The clock is ticking on Governor Cuomo's 10 days to either sign or veto the bill. If he takes no action, the bill will become law. Jerome Wright said, consider this.
We just watched this whole country go bananas on isolation and quarantine for COVID. Depression went up. All the social ills went up. You multiply that exponentially, that's what you have in solitary.
I'm Mary Murphy, Pix 11 News.